Hey, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to say Kalam Yal Bashim Yal Shai Bashim Hakakwadash and double honors to the elders and apostles. Okay, Millstone, GMS will do rule and teach well. Alright, today we're going to get into this kind of article, oh my gosh, because I just read an article before this. Just kind of, some scriptures on, slavery in the scriptures, and going into the law, right? So, right, I'll go here. Leviticus 25:42, right? Goes to Jubilee and everything like that, But this is talking about Israelite, servants, pretty much if you had a fellow, a brother who was in a low estate, we would, you basically put yourself in an indentured servitude, for the 6 years, and then the 7th year you go free. Let's see, to the year Jubilee, we can maybe get something here. Jubilee, 7 weeks a year is the 50th year, deals with land and property rights. I know they had something for like the 7th year, you let them go. Perhaps I'll go try to look for it, or maybe just do another lesson on it, but right. Thou shalt not rule over them with vigor, but thou shalt, actually right here, Isaiah 42, right? For they are my servants, which I brought out of the land of Egypt, they shall not be sold as bondmen, right? So we're not supposed to be selling each other, right? Now, that was something our people were doing, back in Africa, our people were, backdooring each other, selling each other. The Hamites were selling us, we were selling each other, right? That shit was wicked. We're not supposed to be selling ourselves to our enemies, right? And the Hamites, those are our enemies, so that's to be expected. The hell with them, right? We gonna capture them, and we gonna put them in subjection when the time comes, right? The kings and nobles and fetters of iron, Psalm 149. Thou shalt not rule over them with rigor, but shalt fear thy power, right? So we're not, back then, we weren't supposed to rule our people with vigor. We rule over each other with rigor, right? Nowadays, obviously none of us are doing that, right? We don't have like servitude to each other and nothing like that. And in the kingdom, none of us are going to be in a poor state anyway, right? Everything will be in order, right? Certain brothers will be above other brothers and have different responsibilities, but no one's going to be poor, right? Everyone's going to be well taken care of, right? God's revelation, I think that might be 22 or 23. The Most High shall wipe away all tears from my eyes. That was part of our tears. Part of our tears is being, impoverished, struggling, working these jobs, take away all your day, and you're left with pretty much nothing. You're tired as hell. Your body is beat up. At the end of the week, you don't even really enjoy your weekend. You probably spend the weekend, in bed, and then you buy groceries, and then, fucking groceries is expensive too, man. So it's just like, damn, so then you're pretty much like, trying to get whatever little overtime, or try to hold out for those holiday pay, or whatever. Yeah, I'm just speaking in general, But both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids which thou shalt have shall be the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids, right? So the heathen, there's a clear distinction. Right? The Most High want us all to be equal and saved, and this wouldn't be a part of the scriptures. Okay, the Most High, he picks favorites, right? And that's just the way it is. You can like it, you can lump it, and the Most High, the Most High's chosen people, or you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and that's just the fact of the matter. Whether you want to, deny it or admit it or whatever, that's what it is, right? But people that are denying it right now and they can't see it, or they don't want to see it, they don't want to understand, they don't want to acknowledge Yahweh Shem Yahushua, they're going to die on this side, right? Because that's the penalty, okay? There's actions and then there's consequences, right? And that's a consequence of that, right? The wrath of the Most High comes upon the children of disobedience. Moreover, the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, Adam shall ye buy, and other families that are with you, they shall begin in your land, they shall be in their possession, right? So they don't go free, right? We had Jubilee, and different times we let each other free, right? All that's gone when it comes to a heathen, right? We don't let them go free, right? And they done for it, right? And we can buy them and we can sell them, right? And you take them as inheritance for your children after you to inherit them for possession. They shall be your bondmen forever, but over your brethren, children of Israel, you should not rule over another with vigor, right? So the hell with these other nations, but for each other, we treat each other, well. We're not supposed to treat each other with rigor, right? Like we were, struggling in the land of Egypt. We're not supposed to put that burden on each other. And hell, Jake shows how the curses got us, man. Fuck Jake with these jobs. Shit, you be begging to have an Edomite over you sometimes, because Jake will get on your ass harder than the Edomite, man. Jake will fucking put belt to ass on you for no reason, just like super strict. If you got a uniform, he wants your uniform to look a certain way. You gotta wear his shoes a certain way. You gotta do this a certain way. It's like, damn, dude. And Edomite, he's still a damn devil. He'll still fuck you over if you give him a chance to, but he might be a little bit more cool, man, or a little bit more lax with certain things, right? But a devil's a devil, right? You don't trust either one. You don't hang out with either one. You don't eat with either one, right? You just do your job, keep your head low, and keep it easy. Be cordial. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. Hi, goodbye, how are you? Doing well, okay. And you go do your work and you go home, right? And the hell with these fucking people. Alright, so this is the book of Exodus 21 and 16. And he that stealeth the man and selleth him, he be found as him, he shall surely be put to death, man. Alright, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing, right? We're not supposed to be out here, being slave traders and like catching each other, and basically doing kidnapping. We're not supposed to be doing kidnapping, right? But look what Esau did when he came over to west coast of Africa. What did he do? He went out and kidnapped us, man, right? He used these Hamites and whatever, and basically did like a proxy war, backed them to come against us, right? And sometimes they will come against us and kidnap us themselves, man, and kidnap our people and steal them away, right? So they got to get put to death for that, man, right? And that's why it goes under the revenge scriptures, man, right? We're going to get revenge for that, like it says in Revelation 13 and 10, right? I didn't even read that, but I just, it's the spirit, it's right there, Revelation 13 and 10, all right? So they gotta go down for that, because that's not biblical. You're not supposed to do that, right? Now, there was times where you could kidnap and take someone away, but that was like during, war and things like that, where that was okay, right? But we're not supposed to be, we're not kidnappers or traffickers, right? That's what Esau does, right? In the ancient world, right, that was what the nations around about us were known for. They were human traffickers. They were smugglers, right? Especially the Ishmaelites. They were heavy into that, and they still are. Right, so this is Wikipedia.org, Jewish views on slavery. There's a lot of stuff about the Talmud. We're not going into the Talmud. That shit was made by rabbis in like the 5th century AD. Right? We're not dealing with that garbage. Right? That has nothing to do with the scriptures. That goes off of rabbinic commentaries, different stuff that Esau was talking about, back in like the 500s. We're not reading that shit. Biblical. Ancient Israelite society allowed slavery, however, total domination of one human being by another was not permitted. Rather, slavery in antiquity among the Israelites was closer to what would be later be called indentured servitude. Right? In fact, there were cases in which a slave's point of view, stability servitude under the family in which the slave was well treated, would have been preferable to economic freedom. Right? So there's two sets of rules for governing slaves. One set for Hebrew slaves, right? We don't rule them with vigor. And a second set for non-Hebrew slaves, right? Where it doesn't matter, right? Hebrews could become slaves either because of extreme poverty, in which they could sell themselves to Israelite owner, or as punishment for a crime, right? I think that's like if you steal or something. Hebrew slaves were freed after 6 years of service, or when a jubilee arrived, right? And it comes to precept Exodus 21:2. They were treated as servants or hired workers, and the master was forbidden to make them do harsh labor, right? And then also, if they escaped, right, you weren't supposed to, you're supposed to treat them well. You're not supposed to send them back to their master, right? But look what Esau did. Esau treated us very horribly, right? When we ran away, what Esau do? He showed no mercy to our people, right? And you gotta remember that, man. He showed no mercy, right? You just said, hey, you escape, send your ass right back, right? So you can get killed, right? Hey, in the kingdom, we gonna show no mercy, right? Give him back double unto what he did unto us, right? So we gonna show Esau no mercy. You run, you might just get, belt the ass then, and then send you back, and you get belt the ass again, right? Bro might let you run just so you can get caught, and then like fuck you up later and catch you on surprise, or just the minute you think about running, you get jacked up. Right? It's a lot of things that could go down, right? But it's all deserved, right? They were treated as servants or hired workers, and the master forbidden to, right? Rest for non-Hebrew slaves, right? And we are gonna force the heathen to perform our ways anyway, right? They're not gonna be doing the whole thing, and they will have to keep Passover and observances, right? They're not gonna just be doing their own fucking thing. They're not gonna be worshiping, Baal and Moloch and all these false gods and Satan and the things that they be doing now. That's not gonna go down in the kingdom, right? And that's pretty much that. There's nothing really to go further into it, right? There's just two sets of laws amongst ourselves. There was indentured servitude, 6 years you can go free, or was it the 50 years, the 7 weeks, or what is it, the 50th year? Every 50 years you have a jubilee, right? These things don't apply right now. Obviously, we're not doing no jubilee. We're in the land of our captivity. We have no continuity. You can't keep the laws to perfect ability here. And in the kingdom, none of us are gonna be impoverished or poor anyway, so it is what it is, man. Just wanted to go into it because these people, they don't understand. They think that everyone is so-called equal, and the Most High is gonna save everybody, and Most High doesn't have a favorite people, right? And blah 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 blah. Everyone's gonna be saved. And that's madness, right? Yeah, some heathens could do certain things, like maybe cunning in certain works and certain things and whatever. But at the end of the day, they're not the Lord's chosen people, right? And this life is better than them in every way, right? So forget about them, forget about these heathen, coexist with them. But at the end of the day, they here in America. World War III gonna pop out. They're gonna be ashes. So just let ashes be ashes, all right? And you're gonna take that microchip when it pop out, because they heathen. What else they gonna do but follow orders, right? So let that be that, Lord, and advice to Shalom.